Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Just Talking About Sports. I'm Ethan.
I'm Matthew.
And I'm Michael.
And Michael, what are we doing today?
I think we're just talking about sports. Is that right?
I think so too. As
That we're on the same page.
we well, thank you. Today we're gonna be going for another college basketball video. You guys are like, man, we've seen enough college basketball, and we're like, no, we're gonna keep shoving these down your throat because there are still more conferences to cover. And today we pretty much have one of our biggest videos because it is a big mountain swag video. And we'll get into exactly what that means in a little bit because is going to be, we are covering some of the biggest conferences in college basketball, starting off with the Big East, then the Big 10, moving on to the Big 12, Mountain West, and the SWAC, but we call them the swag because why not? And so it's going to be very interesting. We got 5 conferences, so we'll keep zooming through this, and we'll just start off with one of the bigger conferences and one because it's closer to home for me and Michael because we go to Butler, and guess where they are? They are in the Big East, and so we'll start off with the Big East. Starting looking at their standings, Big East has kind of had a down year overall as their best players in terms of last year all pretty much graduated in terms of guys like Miles Powell from Seton Hall. You had all the guys on Villanova. You had Butler, used to be one of the better teams last year, graduated with Kamar Baldwin and all them. And Marquette with Marcus Howard, he was gone, and they're having a rough year trying to recover. So Big East had a down year in terms of their standings, but they still have 2 teams in the top 25. They got Villanova at number 14, and they got Creighton at number 17. You got UConn at number 3, and St. John's at number 4, and the rest we'll get into later. We won't say we don't care about them because we do care about them because I do care about Butler, and I don't want to get yelled at by my friends. So, but we'll start off with you, Matt. Who do you got winning this Big East Conference?
You can tell by our incredible laughing and massive energy, this has been one of the longest Mondays of our lives. But I would like to say that the Big East has pretty much been one long Monday the entire season. This has been a horrible down year in terms of just everything in general. But I think that Villanova and Creighton even still have not been impressive. And then you look at Villanova and the injuries they have now incorporated. I had Nova winning this conference. Then Gillespie got injured, and now they got a couple of their other star players that are now in trouble. I would have taken Creighton, but Xavier's playing for a spot in the tournament, and I think they beat them in the opening round to get in. So I'm not taking Creighton. So I'm going to take the Huskies. I really like what UConn is doing right now. They've bred a lot of success. James Bouknight is one of the baddest men on the planet right now. And I think just behind him, UConn can get through, and they are going to be a dangerous team in March. I believe if you see Villanova as a 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever seed Villanova ends up being, take a good long look at the other team that they are playing with all the injuries and the inconsistencies of the team they've had this year. Be ready, because Villanova, you're getting upset.
Michael, your thoughts?
All right, yeah. So let's start here. The first time I came on your guys' podcast, I said Villanova was far and away the 3rd best team in the country. I remember that. I don't think anyone else does. Bad take by me. I'll own up to it. I got something wrong. I'm going to get a lot of things wrong. I already have gotten things wrong. But I think when you look at this conference, I think it really opens up for the top of the bracket. Georgetown and Marquette winner gets to go against a Villanova team that lost Dustin Moore and Colin Gillespie. That doesn't have a backcourt. I'd take that. The 8-9 game, the winner of that game could easily beat Nova. St. John's is a team that presses all game. Nova not only struggled with the press, but is without their 2 starting guards again. And they just beat Seton Hall without Posh Alexander. It opens up for them. It opens up for almost everybody. But the easy pick's UConn. I'm going to make the easy pick. It's UConn. James Bouknight's a star. They've been really hot recently. RJ Cole is looking so much better. And when they can run a lineup with James Bouknight, Andre Jackson, and Tyrese Martin, probably the most athletic lineup in the entire country. Those 3 can jump at the gym. I mean, they got ups. So I got UConn. Beating St. John's in the final. I think the Hoyas can make a run later in the tournament. I think the Hoyas could take a couple games. You know what? If they beat Marquette, you know what? They could be Villanova. They're coming in pretty well. You know what? Bit of a homer? Absolutely. Grew up a Hoyas fan. Still am. Watched every game. But yeah, I got UConn also. I think UConn's the easy pick.
And as you can tell, his Georgetown fandom goes really well with Butler University.
Yes,
True.
especially the flag in his background. But oh boy, in terms of my pick, it's the Big East has been crazy this year. There's your Georgetown proof right there. But the Big East has been absolutely unbelievable this year. So with an attempt as a straight face, I'm going with the Butler Bulldogs.
No.
I'm just kidding. Put the graphic in for a little bit. Let me get my glory and take it away because it's not logical at all. And I know there's no way in heck that Butler's going to be making it that far. As much as I love them, I would love to see them make it.
They win in a game.
I'd love to see them beat Xavier since they played in the first round, but that's already a stretch to begin with for us. And we're a very young team. We'll be back next year. But in terms of my legit pick or my real pick, you can take the graphic away. I think that I really think that UConn is one of the better teams, but I just have to stick with Creighton, surprisingly, just because of how high-paced this team has been, and I think how consistent they've been able to stay in the top 25 in the rankings all season long. They've been able to have some legit wins against teams. Yes, they've having some issues as of recent over the loss against Xavier, and then most recently against Villanova, who did end up losing Gillespie in the same game. But they went and they responded against our Butler Bulldogs and destroyed us and won by 20. So I think that was a little bit of a wake-up call. And that was also without their head coach, who their head coach is now going to be allowed to join the McDermott. He's been reinstated and he will be able to join the team for the tournament, which is big news for them. So they will be able to have a coach. So I think this Creighton team is basically the winner of that Creighton, Connecticut or UConn game in the second round, or not the second round, in the Final Four is most likely going to be the winner because I don't really trust anybody from that top bracket. I mean, it's a Big East, you never know, but I really think Creighton's got it. Zagorowski is my guy, and he's been tearing it up for them, and even got a guy like a little Christian Bishop, who's been one of the best field goal percentages on their team too. So he's got the third best field goal percentage in the nation. Nobody really knew about that, but hey, I think Creighton's a well-rounded team. Blue Jays, I think, have got the Big East.
I do want to say something quick about McDermott and Creighton. Obviously, for those who have been following the situation, I'm not going to touch up much on it, but obviously with the whole situation with what he said in the locker room to his players, and he offered to resign and everything due to the insensitive comments, but the fact that the team still supports a guy like that and the fact that he has owned up to his mistakes is powerful. I think Creighton may have a big fire. It's going one of two ways. I think Creighton's going to have a huge fire into them and they're going to win the tournaments very soundly, or it's going to backfire in their faces and they're going to lose immediately. I don't see an in between. I think they either lose in the first round or they win the entire thing. To me, their game against either Xavier or Butler is a huge telling point as to where this team can go. That is my thought.
Yeah, mark your calendar, Saturday, March 13th, because that game's going to be electric. Or excuse me, not March 13th. It's March 12th.
That would be March
12th. Sorry, March 12th. Mark your calendars, March 12th, 9 p.m. Most likely going to be those two teams if things go according to plan. But remember, it's March, so you never know. But still, it's going to be a crazy, crazy Big East conference, and I am going to enjoy every minute of it. And this is our close to home conference we love talking about. But we'll continue on because we got two more bigs to cover. And the next big we're going to be talking about is the Big Ten. Oh man, has this been a beastly conference. I mean, overall, they've had I'm pretty sure some of the teams have had the hardest conference of all time in terms of scheduling. Like Northwestern had one of the hardest scheduling, and there's a reason why they're sitting at 5-13 in this conference, because the teams are absolutely stacked in this division and conference. So you got obviously Michigan, number 2 team in the nation, as at least as of now. They most recently dropped after losing Michigan State, but then you got Illinois sitting at number 4th team in the nation and 2nd in the Big Ten. Iowa right behind them, Purdue, and then you got Ohio State. I'll keep going just because all these teams actually matter. You got Ohio State sitting at 5th, and Wisconsin sitting at 6th, and the rest You can't say they don't matter because they are. Most of these teams are going to make the tournament, but the rest of them, y'all could read them. And yeah, I think this Big Ten is going to be a fun conference to watch since it is the best, in my opinion, the best overall and most talented conference in the league. And we'll see what they have in store. Matt, with what's such a crazy and talented conference, who do you got winning it this year?
Well, I want to start as I buckle up because this is either going to be well reached or horribly reached. So, Ethan and I, if you date back to when we first started, Michael was not it was not the integral part of our starting point. So I don't know where your opinion stands on Michigan, but we hate Michigan. My respect has grown for them over these past few months. I've lost all of it over the past 14 days. They suck. Their inability to do anything. I have issues. This team looked very good. Then Illinois happened without Io. Then Michigan State happened. No excuse. You just suck. And now you head in to the Big Ten and you think that play is getting you anywhere? No, that's getting you nowhere. Michigan's going out early. I don't care who it's to. They're out early in this tournament. That's first thing. Second thing, the best team in the country is in this division, in this conference. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm getting eyes. Don't care. And we've lost somebody, but I don't care. I believe Illinois is the best team in college basketball.
You heard it here.
I believe Illinois is the best team in college basketball. You heard it. I don't care what you think. Gonzaga plays nobody. Illinois has played one of the hardest schedules, one of the hardest conferences ever. They have two of the best players in college basketball. One, I'd argue, might be the best in Iowa Sumo. Kofi has been unbelievable, and any other team would be the superstar. Has the talent. They've played the teams. Illinois wins this conference, and they head into March Madness as the favorite to win it all, whether you see it or not. Because Gonzaga, congratulations, you will head into the tournament unbeaten. In dominating fashion. Watch what happens when they actually reach the tournament in comparison to what Illinois has played all season long.
Oh boy, what a take. But how are you going to respond to that, Michael? What are your thoughts?
The Gonzaga disrespected of this man is absurd. It's absurd. Not to mention, Baylor beat Illinois by 15. I mean, those are the two best teams in the country. It's been that way all year. Stop making things more complicated than they are. That being said, we're going into the Big Ten. Got Illinois too. got Illinois. I just do. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Michigan State game is going to be a ton of fun. Because I think Michigan State beats Maryland. Michigan State's coming in hot. I got Michigan in that game though. Unlike Matt. And
no, I do too. I have them too, but Purdue's going to kill them.
Oh, I have Ohio State beating Purdue. Ohio State being a 5 is, based on how good they are, is insane. It shows how deep this conference is. Ohio State might be the best 5 seed we've ever seen in any conference tournament ever. And the worst 5 seed is probably in the Pac-12. But anyway, we're not talking about them today. Look, I would love to see Rutgers beat Illinois. I love Rutgers. They deserve it. Rutgers does. Oliver won't shut up. But look at Illinois. Illinois, I just think Illinois is the best team in the conference. They have the best player on the floor in any game they play in. Io Dosunmu. Io's a beast. Kofi Coburn inside. Big, strong dude. He can contain Luka Garza. And yeah, I'm not really worried about Iowa on that side. I think Illinois is the best player on the floor. Best player wins big games. Late game. Io Dosunmu is one of the most clutch guys in the in all of college basketball. Probably in all of college basketball history. I have a stat on my phone, but I'm too lazy to pull it up. I'll do it in like the actual March Madness video. But how good Iowa is in clutch time is just remarkable. I'd be an idiot not to take Illinois. So I'm going to take Illinois.
Man, I really, really want to take Illinois because I know they, in my opinion, they're the most talented team, or they have the most talent on their team in the entire country, in my opinion, and they're the most one of the most deepest team. I think Baylor's a little bit more deep than them, but I feel like they have some of the most talented players on their roster. but I don't want to be I don't want to all of us pick Illinois because I mean it's the most obvious pick. So I'm gonna stick with my other guy who just got his number retired most recently, and I'm gonna pick Iowa. Luka Garza, number 55. No one is ever gonna be wearing that number, and there's a certainly good reason why, because this guy is one of the best. I'm pretty sure already won Player of the Year, and there's a reason why, because he's just unbelievable. He's the best player in college basketball. I mean, you could say Ayo, but I think overall in terms of just how much he means to the team, Luka Garza is their entire team. He's the third most highest scoring in points per game, and the only center in the top 40 in terms of points per game in the entire NCAA. They are one of the best shooting teams in the entire country in terms of three-point shooting, because almost half their team can be able to pull up from nearly half court and make it, because that's just how their lineup is built. And I think that they'll be able to put up a fight. I mean, most likely, I think Iowa, I think, have one of the easier ways into that game on Saturday against Illinois, because they get Penn State, Nebraska, yikes and a half, and then they get Wisconsin, who is one of the most overrated teams of the Big Ten. Which means one of those teams that get diverse, and I think they'll be able to easily win that. And then most likely versus Illinois. And I think once again, that bottom of the bracket is going to be the winner, or most likely the winner. So we'll see what they have in store. But I really think this Iowa team has the potential to win this conference. And I would pick Illinois, but since you guys already took them, I'll take Iowa instead. So, all right, man, 2 conferences. We are slowly moving through these, but that's because they are very, very meaningful, because they're very big, if you want to say the least. And we'll move into our final big one, speaking of bigs, and that one is the Big 12. This one has been arguably also one of the best conferences in terms of teams that have been in the top 25 of the AP poll, because they have been almost, I believe, almost the entirety of their conference has been in the top 25 for a very long time during this time when we've been covering them, because we've been covering a lot of Big 12 teams in our AP polls, and we know these teams very well, because they have all but TCU, Kansas State, and Iowa State in there, because you got obviously number 3 Baylor leading it. You got Kansas in 13. You got West Virginia in 3rd at number 6. Got Texas at number 15, at number 4 in the conference. You got then Oklahoma State at number 17. And then you got Texas Tech at number 18 and Oklahoma at number 16. Numbers all weird because that's how they are in the conference, but an absolutely unbelievably stacked conference for the Big 12, and just unbelievable overall. But Matt, I mean, do you have any ideas who's going to be winning in this conference? Because this is once again a stacked conference.
But first, I'd like to give a shout out to Iowa State for being 2-21 and 0-18 in conference. I had to say it because it really is just crazy how much a player like Tyrese Halliburton can completely flip that team. So that I did want to mention. But in all seriousness, as we go into this conference, I believe Baylor is either the second or third best team in college basketball. You make the pick on whether you believe which is the case. Obviously, you know what Michael thinks. But I'm going to take Baylor. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm changing audibly as we say this. I'm going Kansas. Never mind. Because, and I'm completely making this on the fly. I had this all thought out, and then I realized no. So, I really like Baylor. I think they're a very good program. They've had a couple. That loss ain't pretty. It is not a pleasant thing to look at. And they should have lost to Iowa State, something I will not discuss now because they're 2-21 and not worth my time. But I believe Kansas is bred for this. This is exactly what this team's made for. And yeah, this is a bunch of young players. This is not the same team we have known over the years. But McCormick is something else. And at the end of the day, I believe Kansas has the firepower necessary to make a huge run, which is impossible to say a month ago. But they've really found themselves again. I really like the Jayhawks now, something I never thought I'd say in my life. But I really like to see Kansas because there's a lot of doubters out there, a lot of haters. I believe Kansas has the firepower necessary. Baylor's fantastic. And honestly, both of you picking Baylor is fine. Baylor's probably got a very good chance. I do believe Kansas does pull this out, though. Experience is a big, big factor. You got a program like that that's bred success for as long as they have, and they Kansas pulls it out. I did want to say one quick thing before Michael goes. Oklahoma's lost 4 straight. And the fact that they're still in the top 25 is disgusting to me. That's all I have to say.
Oh man, yeah. Since we will most likely not get another AP poll video, we'll try to if we have any extra time on our hands. But because it's getting so crazy with college basketball videos, we'll probably squeeze. We won't have time to squeeze it in. But I respect the not going for Baylor. But Michael, you be picking a logical pick. You're gonna be going off the rails.
Yeah, I'm taking Baylor. Let's just start there. This conference though was awesome. I love 7 teams in there. I think are top 25 teams. I mean, and one of them has to play in the first couple of games. Now, granted, Oklahoma's playing a team in Iowa State that probably wouldn't win the SWAC. We'll get on that later, but Iowa's 2 wins are against Pine Bluff and Jackson State, not Jacksonville State. Those are bad teams. I mean, shout out to Jackson State. They haven't lost a game in SWAC play, but I'm not sure Iowa would win the SWAC. So that's as freebie as it gets. But for Kansas, I just think they have a pretty difficult road. I think Baylor getting to face TCU first is an advantage, and Kansas is an awful matchup for Texas. Texas is really long, really athletic, and Kansas, aside from McCormack, is really small. Jalen Wilson is not a big guy, and he plays either the 4 or sometimes they're 5. They don't match up well with that Texas team at all. It was just a whole bunch of long athletes. And if it's Texas, I don't like that matchup. If it's Texas Tech, I think it's a better matchup, but first-round transfer Mack can go off in any game, and he can get you 30. Now, he also can get you 4 points, but he can get you 30 in any game, and he is that good. But Baylor's so good. Baylor has like 5 guys that can beat you on any given night. Maceo Teague just went like 10 of 12 from 3. He set the Big 12 record for threes in a game, and he's not even one of their 2 like All-American guards. That's how deep this team is. Jared Butler got robbed of Big 12 Player of the Year, in my opinion. I think he should have gotten it over Cade. Avion Mitchell is awesome. Maceo Teague, I mean, he just went for 30. He's amazing. Mark Vital is that glue guy that every team needs. They just have all of these pieces that you just need, and they're so good. They're so good. I'd be a fool not to take them. I actually do like the Kansas pick, though. Kansas, I think, is a team that's trending in the right direction, and people doubting Bill Self in March, if you picked against them in the first round, yeah, it doesn't work out. I took Northeastern a couple years. Trust me, I was very confident in that game. I took them. Didn't work out at all. Don't doubt Bill Self in the first round. I've done it before. I'm an idiot, but I'll take Baylor. Yeah, that's all I got. I got Baylor.
I did want to say one thing before Ethan goes, because, and first of all, Northeastern pain, I feel it. Same here. I am concerned about that matchup, which is why I didn't have Kansas in the first place. Because Texas is their nightmare, but it's not like they haven't beaten them. So I do believe that Kansas on the right night and at the right time can get moving against Texas. I think it's going to be very difficult, but I think it's not impossible. They got some lights out shooters in Texas too. Let's not forget that. They're long, they're fast, and they can shoot. So watch out for Texas. I've ripped on them a lot on this channel because they seem to lose the games they shouldn't and then win the games they shouldn't. So, that's normally a recipe for disaster in March, but in this format, it might end up being their saving grace. So, a lot is possible here, really.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of me, I'm thankful for you, for picking somebody other than Baylor, because I didn't want to be everyone picking Baylor. I mean, we're trying to spice things up as much as we can and add some of our bold takes. So I'm obviously taking Baylor. I'll keep it short since you guys have pretty much covered everything. Jared Butler's the man, and I really, like I said earlier when I was talking about Illinois, I really think Baylor is up there with the most talented and most well-rounded and most deepest teams in the entire nation. If I had a way too early pick to win the entire thing, it'd be Baylor. But I think that's just the most solid pick overall. And for the rest of the Big 12, I mean, Texas is a sneaky team. I think that people are forgetting about just because they've been they've been a little shaky of recent, and same with West Virginia. Oklahoma State's been on the rise, and everyone else. I mean, there's been a few teams. I mean, I like the Kansas pick too, but I think Baylor's just the most solid pick here. And they've been after that COVID concern, which was the only reason why they lost. I think in the first place is they're coming off dry or like not so good and not so hot and but basically they lost their hot streak that they were on when they were 19 or 18-0 before they versed Kansas when they eventually lost. So I'm just excluding that part. I'm just going to count it or say it's COVID and use that as an excuse. And I think Baylor will be able to easily control this Big 12 and should be able to get out of it with another trophy to add, and hopefully maybe another one in the NCAA if they end up doing it. So, all right, that will do it for our bigs. Now we get to move on to the fun, not so basically the mid majors. But Mountain West is the next conference we're moving on to. This one's still pretty fun and one I've also been paying attention to because there's been a few teams that, or at least there are a few teams that have been up there and been close to getting some votes in the top 25. There's one team that leads right now. It's San Diego State. They're the number one. Utah State as one of the best defenses in the league. Colorado State and Boise State have been up there in terms of kind of close to, but no cigar in terms of squeaking into the AP top 25. And the rest don't really matter because they're mid-majors now. I could say that. And Matt, who do you got in the Mountain West?
Ooh, all right. We're going to keep the hot train rolling because I'm loving this tonight. There's one point in your life that you have to get really risky with it. So, for those who really have been paying attention to the bubble watch, shout out Joe Lunardi, Colorado State's sitting right on that line. They're 17-5. They got a lot to play for. No, don't worry. I'm not picking them. But what I am going to say is Colorado State makes it all the way to the championship of this conference because they have a lot to play for. They're going to get there, and I believe Utah State will fall to them. This conference will be pretty normal, in my opinion. First of all, can we please say why is Wyoming even in a play-in game when the rest of the other three teams are so bad? And then watch Wyoming lose now. But I'm taking San Diego State. It's my team. I love them. I've loved them since the beginning. It's a shame Malachi Flynn isn't here to experience this. But San Diego State's still a dog. I love seeing Matt Mitchell still balling here. To me, it's just seeing him, the fire he has each game because he missed this. Last year, he missed this as the favorite. He missed this. This was their chance to go all the way last year. It's gone now. He's got a fire, and he says, you know what? I want to do it again. And so I believe in San Diego State. I want them to go far. And the biased part of me says they can really go far. Then there's a realistic part of me that knows they have no chance of doing that. But I really want to see San Diego State make a very big run because I think it would be good for the fan base of college basketball. San Diego State wins this conference, and I think they win it pretty easily. And Colorado State steals one of the at-large bids with a good run in the Mountain West Conference.
All right. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything more because you're a big San Diego State guy, and I knew there was no way you're picking against them. So, Michael, you gonna pick anything different?
Yeah, I got nervous he was gonna steal my pick. There was one team who didn't get swept by any of the Big Four teams. San Diego State, Boise State, Utah State, and Colorado State are who I mean by the Big Four. Colorado State's the only team that didn't get swept by any of them. They didn't get swept by any of them. They went at San Diego State and won a ridiculous game. I mean, it was it came back from like 20 down and hit like a corner three to win it. That was electric. They won at Utah State, and then they beat Boise State the next series. Yeah, I got Colorado State. I think this team's really good. I think they got really good guards. David Roddy is an excellent player. Isaiah Stevens is an excellent player. I mean, this team they're fun. They shoot the ball really well. Nico Medved is an excellent head coach. I mean, the way he's turned this program around in an instant is remarkable. Shout out to Ali Farouk-Manesh on as an assistant coach, by the way. When you hear that name, I just can't not think of that shot that he hit a couple years back. Love the name too. Great name. This team can shoot it. They're well balanced. The only worry I have with them is that the conference, for some reason, made a bubble team play like 4 games in like 7 days. I don't know why they did that, and they made him go at Nevada for the last one, so that's not a good loss to have. I don't know why the conference did it. They set a bubble team up to fail. I thought that was really dumb, but this team, they're rested. They're prepared for a short run, and I think they do it. I think they can take down Utah State in game 1, and then I think they take down San Diego State in the final. I think Boise State's headed right on the edge of that bubble too, but I don't think they get there. And Colorado State, they're my pick. And also, the sneak this at Wyoming, well, not at Wyoming, but at the other teams. Last year, Wyoming was one of the worst teams in this conference, and they gave my boy Sam Merrill a run for his money. So this conference has a tendency to do just crazy things. But I don't
Fresno
think
too, right? Fresno State last year, they had that big move as well.
Something like that. Yeah, it was a weird tournament, but Sam Merrill just went berserk. That was awesome. But Sam Merrill deserved March. But I got Colorado State. I think they take this one. This conference is going to be fun, though. Those 4 teams are really good, and Nevada's not that bad either. but I got Colorado State.
This is one of the fewer mid-major conferences I've been paying attention to more, but I saw this fun stat too about there's only 5 teams in the entire nation right now that have the quote unquote national championship statistical blueprint. And guess who happens to be on that one? Oh yeah, that's San Diego State, baby. Aztecs, I have to pick them right here. They are, in terms of the blueprint, there's 5 teams on here. It's Michigan, Virginia, San Diego State, BYU, and Liberty. It's a great group to be with, because when you're being compared to a Michigan or Virginia team who so far are really highly ranked, and both, or at least Virginia already won the regular season of their division, and same with Michigan. I think San Diego State's a pretty good team, to say the very least. So I think they deserve, as Matt said, they're another chance in March, as they got robbed last year. They were supposed to be a 2 seed. And they lost Malachi Finn, or Malachi Flynn, everyone to say it. And they were not, basically, that was one of their best players on the team. And they still are finding a way to win in the Mountain West, which proves that this team was a stacked and legitimate team. So, and I still think that they should be able to handle everyone in this conference. I know they dropped one against Colorado State earlier in the year, but besides that, this team has been solid from all aspects. And I just can't wait to keep watching them keep on moving. I mean, Matt Mitchell's absolutely a baller and averaging 15.4 points. He also got Shackle, and just overall in terms of defensively too wise, this team was very good, and I think they're going to continue to be going good, and that's why I have them. I mean, I'd love to keep going after maybe I was really enjoying Boise State so far, but they've dropped a few games recently, and they've kind of beginning to slowly but surely lose my respect. But in terms of everyone else, I think Utah State and Colorado State also got a legitimate chance, but San Diego State's the top dog here, and I got to pick them. Oh, but we'll move on to, since this video is already running very long, and we love talking about some of the bigger conferences, move on to our final one. This is the SWAG conference. Oh, wait, sorry, the SWAC, Southwestern Athletic Conference. And this one's another fun one. It's a mid-major and a lesser-known one because as Matt and I were talking earlier, this is going to be likely the first time ever that in a very long time that they are not going to be a 16 seed or the team in there, because right now Prairie View A&M is 13-0 right now, 14-4 in their conference. Jackson State is 11-0, 11-5 in their division or conference right now. Texas Southern and Grambling bring up the rear, and then the rest don't really care about. But we'll just keep on moving. Matt, who do you got in this SWAG conference?
Michael will shake his head and say Prairie View A&M is not going to be better than it is 16. Which if he ends up being right, I'm very disappointed in the committee if that's the truth. But before I get to that, you could put the graphic. I'm picking Prairie View A&M.
I am right.
Yeah, whatever. You can put the graphic. I'm picking Prairie View A&M. They're definitely winning this conference. Move on. I care more about the bottom because I have to make a statement to Mississippi Valley State. If you somehow beat Prairie View A&M, congratulations, by the way, on making the conference tournament. Round of applause for you guys. You're 2-21. You finally earned this. It might be worse than that. Let me check. No, it's 2-21. You won 2 games in conference. That's something you haven't done in years. And you haven't won a game since like 2018. So, I mean, I guess that's credit. But if you win this game against Prairie View A&M, I am saying it right now. Be ready for a video in a couple of days because I will issue like a 5-minute apology to your entire campus. I'm telling you right now, I will do it on this channel. And I'm not worried about it because it's not happening. Prairie View A&M has all the talent and the loaded roster to get it done. I believe Prairie View A&M is going to be an extremely dangerous team. And if they walk in as a 16, if they really walk in as a 16 seed, I have committee issues. I've had it for years. Don't worry about it because Winthrop being worse than a 12 too is beyond me. But so that's the first part. If they are a 16 seed and they match up against Michigan, I'm ready. I'm ready to see it again. I saw it with UMBC in 2018. I'm ready to see it again. We deserve it after the year we had last year. I want to see it again. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because I think Michigan is very vulnerable to something like that. So I'm ready for that. I think it can happen. Prairie View A&M, very dangerous team. Watch out. They're not losing to Mississippi Valley State, so they have a first round bye. So, well, they have to play, but you know. Do they really? I don't know. But Prairie View A&M, it should be fine.
Yeah, they have to play. There's no bias in the SWAC. So, but
There is
they get the
bias.
Mississippi Valley, so they should be able to make it. So, Matt, who do you got in this one?
I'm apparently Matt twice, so I'll go again.
Gosh, darn it, Michael. Sorry, you can tell it's getting late and it's getting to be a long video, so.
It's been a long day for yourself. First of all, I completely agree with him. I have Prairie View A&M. I don't agree that they're definitely a 16. I'll be shocked if they're on a play-in 16. Frankly, they're not that good. They lost to Washington State by almost 30. Don't get me wrong, they're a good SWAC team. They're a 16 seed. They are, but Cam Mack is he was in my opinion, he was the best player on last year's Nebraska team. Now that team was terrible, don't get me wrong, but he transferred to Prairie View. He's probably the best player in this league. I know he's not leading this team in scoring, but he's averaging 8 assists a game. I mean, he is an excellent player. Probably the best player in the league. I'll take the best player in the league as much. I mean, it's pretty much that simple. He's second in the nation in assists. Yeah, I'll take him. And I said off air, if Mississippi Valley State beat Prairie View in the first game, I will run up and down my dorm hall floor, swirling around my shirt. And I stand by it. Jerry Rice ain't walking through that door. He ain't playing for them. I'll take Prairie View A&M to win the thing. I think it's pretty easy. Yeah.
13
in a row.
It wouldn't stand a chance against Michigan. Would beat them by 30, maybe 40.
I would be willing to put money down that they keep that within at least 30 for sure. 100%. If that ends up being a theoretical matchup, I'd be willing to put money down. That's a lot closer than what you just said.
Oh boy. Well, I'll keep.
I want that to be Appalachian State, though. To be clear, I want Appalachian State to play Michigan.
Oh, I think we all do. Let's be real. Yeah.
We absolutely. As we all know, we all failed already. Our in terms of our bracket in that conference already. But I'll quickly run through mine as we are continuing to keep going longer and longer. We're sorry that is a long video, but I always have to stick with Prairie View A&M. I can't. There's nothing that can take me or make me go take Jackson State. I know they're 11-0 too, but I think Prairie View has an easier pathway to the conference championship, and that's why it's picked them. Like you said, best player in the league, and I mean, there's a chance they might be able to not be a 16 seed, but we'll see. I mean, it's all going to come down to what the committee says, and the SWAC has been not so great for years, and I think it most likely is going to continue no matter what. So. Oh, all right.
Prairie View beat Iowa State. Don't get me wrong. I think they're a better team than Iowa State, but they're a 16 team.
Yes. 0-8 or 0-13 or whatever they are. There's not so great in terms of a resume, but that will end up doing it for our big mountain swag video, or otherwise known as our conference or college basketball conference video. Sorry we went super long, but this is a bigger video because we talked about the bigger conferences, and we also threw a little bit of fun ones in there. The mountain swag, gotta love that. But I hope everyone has enjoyed. Hope everyone has stayed all the way to the end because I know this is a longer video than usual. So we appreciate you guys making it all the way to here. But until next time, we'll be here just talking about sports.
Have a great night, everybody.
Peace.